Okay, yeah. So we will be having two speakers today. One is Yongkang. He will be talking about GKE and Falco, and we will have another speaker, Bernd Nordhausen. He is a Google certified trainer, and he has written a book on Google Cloud with Terraform. So he would be sharing his wisdom on GKE and Terraform. And before we proceed, I would like to hand over the mic to Edwina to speak about Google Developer Space and the startup program that they have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, welcome everybody to Google Developer Space. Before I start, can I get a show of hands? Who is here in this space for the very first time? Oh, that's actually quite a lot of you. Nice. Okay, so welcome to this space. I'm sure those that here for the first time have not met me before. I'm Edwina. I'm the events manager at the space here. So Google Developer Space is built to host community events like this one, as well as to promote Google products and education for free. So about the community events here, let me take this. So we actually host a lot of community events, and if you would like to find out about the community events that we have, you can follow our social media here, but I know it's a lot of words. That's why we came up with a Telegram channel where you can scan this QR code and find out about all the events that we have. We update very regularly here, and then you can just find out about anything, basically. So while you are scanning this code, some information for you about the space is the toilet, the washroom is at the back of the hall here. And if you need the Wi-Fi, Google Wi-Fi is free, so you can just use the Google Guest Wi-Fi. And the very important information is in case of any emergencies, we will be exiting this hall through that exit over there. So you can see that green exit sign. So we'll be exiting that door all the way down to the car park. So it's very important. So if there's any emergency, if you go back to the door over there, it's just gonna be a lift and you're just gonna be stuck. So you have to go down through the stairs over there. So everybody is done with this? Okay. So just to let you guys know, photography and videography may occur. So some of us will be going around with our cameras, our phones, just taking photo of you. If you're not comfortable, just to let me know. Maybe I can just put you somewhere where the photos won't catch you. Just let me know, okay? And last but not least, if you are from a startup or you know someone that's in a startup that requires cloud credits, you can just scan the QR code over there and then find out more information. And if you have any other questions, I'll be around. You can come and look for me anytime. All right, that's all I have. Thank you so much. Let me pass the time back.
Thank you, Edwina.
Thank you.
Okay. So welcome to our 21st meetup. My name is Ritesh. I am one of the organizers of this meetup. And with me, I have Fazir, who is my colleague, who helped me organize the meetup. So our event sponsor, Google. Google do provide us the venue every month to make this meetup happen. So thank you, Google. We are also Cloud Native CNCF is also one of our main sponsors, and our founder Yongkang is a Cloud CNCF ambassador. Again, our main sponsor Google. CloudCasa is also one of our sponsors. So JFrog also helps us from time to time to schedule the meetups. Our mission is we are very passionate about Kubernetes and we are learning from each other and sharing this technology. So what's today, we are going to have two sessions. The first session would be from Yongkang, who will be talking how to secure your GKE containers via Falco. Our second topic is from Bernd Nordhausen. He's a cloud architect and Google Cloud trainer, and he would be talking about using Terraform to manage GKE Cluster. This is a LinkedIn page. If you guys have not yet joined or followed us, please do follow. We post our event updates and many other information about upcoming events and discounts for the CNCF events. If anybody of you would like to join us as a sponsor, or you know someone who might be interested in joining us as a sponsor, would like to sponsor us food, drinks, books, swag, whatever it is for the community. So you guys, where is the QR code?
Oh, you good.
Yeah, and then if you want to join us as a speaker, again, this is the QR code. We welcome the community to come and share with us what you have worked on Kubernetes, container, or open source technology, and you would like to talk about it in front of the community. You're very welcome. So scan the QR code and register yourself as a speaker. We will reach out to you for the upcoming meetup.
Yeah. No, good.
Okay. And now I would like to call Yongkang to come on the stage and hand over to Yongkang for the first topic.
Thanks, Ritesh. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Yeah, first of all, thanks for joining us to learn. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the pizza. We're looking for more sponsors. Yeah, could be. I don't know if you guys like a pizza every time, but we're looking for more sponsors to help us to provide the food, drinks, and also some nice swags. Yeah, today actually I got Andy from Cystic. Yeah, he provided us the book, which is pretty good. Yeah, for anyone are willing to learn the cloud security. Yeah, that's one of the a pretty good book. Yeah, I only have a limited number of the books, so I will have one for one of those guys ask the nice questions later. Okay. So let's get started. I learn most of the time I just learn by myself. Yeah, by now I'm 41 times multi-cloud certified. I did the 6 times security certifications as well. So today's topic, how to secure the GKE containers. I love open source. So I prefer to use the open source tools. So I do some learning about the Falco, and it's one of the popular cloud native runtime security tool. So I'm going to share you guys how to make it happen, how to secure your containers on your GKE cluster. The same thing can be applied to other Kubernetes. So first of all, I always like to show off my badges. Yeah, feel free to follow me to learn. Could be learn anything. Yeah, I love to show off my Kubernetes badges and also, CNCF ambassador, badge. I'm also CloudCasa ambassador. So as I say, I'm 6 times security certified, cover top 5 public cloud and also Kubernetes. So today, I want to show you not only just talk about how to use Falco, what is Falco, I want to give you some hands-on, how to actually deploy to secure my GKE containers. So I also give you a demo to see how it works. If you guys bring your laptop, you can follow me to do as well. So first of all, I need to spin up a GKE cluster. So do you guys know how to create a GKE cluster? How long it take to create a GKE cluster? Anyone tried the Google GKE cluster? Come on, nobody. Okay, so I will show you immediately. So I want to spin up a GKE cluster to show you how to secure using Falco. So I'm going to jump to the Google Cloud. No, not this one. No, I'm still trying to see how it works. Yes, give me 1 second. Oh, now it works. Okay, so I log into the Google Cloud. So can you guys see it? So first of all, let's spin up a GKE cluster. So it only take about 6 minutes. So while I'm talking, so I want to spin up the cluster first, and then we can see how to secure using Falco. So how to do it? So you just log into, I created a GitHub page, automation code. How to automate the GKE cluster. You only just run one command, 6 minutes, you can spin up a GKE cluster. And if you're interested in my GitHub page, I also cover some other stuff. So including how to sign up a trial account and how, here is a command, how to do it. If first time you haven't enabled GKE, you need to run this command to enable the GKE API. So if you already enable, you just, all we need to do is just run GKE deploy. So that's the command, the magic command, you run it, and within, typically within a few minutes, it will be available, the cluster. So I'm going to run it now. So I need to change it to the folder, the GKE, and then run the command. So now we are going to create a GKE cluster. And once it's ready, and not to mention, I forgot to mention, it's running the latest version. Google is the first one to offer the managed Kubernetes 1.28. So which version are you guys running? 1.21. Wow, serious. But yeah, the problem is in the Kubernetes world, only the latest 3 are officially supported. So yeah, that comes to another question, how I can move from the older version to the newer version. So there are some other tools that can help you to do the migration or backup, do the restore to the new cluster. That will make the life easier. So I already kicked off the command. Typically in about 6 minutes, it should be up running, and then we can continue the rest. So while we're building the cluster, let's come back. So how to do it? I included the command here. And when you're going back, you can try by yourself. You just clone the repository, and then you just change it to the directory from this GKE deploy. So for the Falco, I also included the Falco, link here if you're interested to learn a little bit more. But once we are already creating the cluster, now we're going to talk about the Falco. What is Falco? The Falco project, it's an open source project. It's under CNCF. If you look at the CNCF landscape, you will see there are very limited security and compliance project. Falco is one of the very popular one. So in the short, Falco is the cloud native runtime security camera to help you to monitor, watching your containers, watching your Linux system to see if there is a abnormal behavior. If there is any abnormal behavior, it will alert you. You can create the alert sent to Teams, Slack, or email, or gRPC, whatever tools you are currently using. So you can get immediate indication someone is breaking or something is happening from all my containers. So that's the Falco project that was created. And if you look closely, how it detected the problems to identify if there is any problems. So if it's a Linux system, it will talk to the Linux system via monitoring the syscalls. If it's a Kubernetes, via the Kubernetes the audit logs. But they also support the cloud activities. So for example, if you're using GKE, you have the GKE activity log or AWS Cloud Trail, etc. So it allows you to integrate with your Linux system, your Kubernetes, and also the cloud. And then once detected the problems, detected there is any abnormal behavior, and it will trigger the rules to create the alerts to send to your system, so you can get the notifications. So Falco is also one of the projects. It's almost graduated. So basically from last November, they already submitted the graduation requirements. So when the project accepted by CNCF, typically initially it will be a sandbox project that then becomes incubating and then finally graduated. So Falco project is towards the end to become a graduated project. So when we talk about the security, have you guys heard of the 4C? Some people talk about the 4C. So the 4C from the inside, if you look at the inside, so you got the kernel, you got your OS here, and you have the code security. So first of all, when you write the application, when you create the application, you need to make sure your code is secure. And then your application is running on containers. You need to make sure your container is secured. And if we look at the layers, so your containers are typically nowadays running on Kubernetes, running on the Kubernetes cluster. You need to secure your Kubernetes cluster. Where are the Kubernetes cluster running? Running on the the VM nodes or the physical nodes. Where? Could be running from the cloud, could be running from the co-location or corporate data center. So if you look at here, we talk about the defense in depth. So from inside, you got a code security, container security, cluster security, and the cloud or your colo security. So the prevention, you probably in your IT environment, you already have a multiple tools to secure your network, the firewall, etc. But the prevention is not enough. What if something happens? Are you able to detect immediately to take some actions? That's where Falco, the open source project, operating at the kernel, operating at the command, monitor your container, manage your cluster, and also cloud. So in the short, what is Falco used for? For your runtime security, for your containers, for your Kubernetes, and provided the real-time cloud risk detection, and not to mention it's open source. But I don't know if everybody love open source. A lot of the enterprise companies nowadays, they all have the open source first strategy. So how it works? So this is similar to the first one I showed earlier, just make it bigger. So Falco was running here. You got a Falco engine, you got the rules configured. So talk to Kubernetes about the audit logs, talk to Linux system about syslogs, syscalls, and talk to all different cloud about the activity log or audit logs, etc. Any question? Has anyone tried? Or has anyone heard of the Falco? What other tools you guys are using to secure your containers? JFrog. Okay. AquaSec, yeah. Yeah, that's another one. Yes. There are a lot of initial, if you look at the container security, Kubernetes security, there are a lot of different tools. If you even expand bigger, there is a new term called CNCF, Cloud Native Application Protection Platform. There are so many different vendors, but none of them seriously can really do everything very well. But when you look at the Falco, it's one of the very popular tool, just focus on the cloud native security, just focusing on the Kubernetes container security. So there are a little bit more information about the Falco architecture. I don't know if anyone heard of the eBPF. So extended Berkeley packet filter. So basically for any security company or the monitoring observability company, if you want to monitor real time, you need to talk to the kernel. You need to have your code running in the kernel. How? If you're running Linux, if you run something in the kernel, you need to compile the software and then it takes a long time. So with the eBPF, allow you to create your stuff from the user space, but actually plug in to run in the kernel. So you can detect very quickly, very efficiently. So when some activity was detected, you can capture these activities. So Falco was here. You can see that from the architecture level, Falco can detect and alert any behavior that involves making the Linux syscall. And secondly, Falco, so based on the rules are basically it's just the YAML file you define. There are already some pre-built in rules, but you can customize the rules. Maybe something to you not important, you can ignore that rule, you can exclude, etc. And once you got the Falco engine here, and your kernel is here, So there are two libraries. One is inspection, one is capture. So there are some activities happening from the cool node was detected, and then the inspector module found that there is some issues, and then we'll check the rules to identify if it's based on the rule, capture the event, it will alert you. How to alert, send you could be output to a Falco, standard output, it could be gRPC or any other tools you currently using. So that's just on the high level, the Falco architecture, how it works. Any question? No question. Serious? No question? Okay. If no question, yeah, let's see the demo. Let's see how it works. So I love automation. So how to deploy the Falco? I don't know. If you look at the documentation, the Falco.org, you might also get lost. So I make it easier. So I also created automation. Just run one command to deploy Falco to my GKE cluster. So right now you can see how long it take. It takes 6 minutes and 18 seconds. I got a GKE cluster running. So let's check what's the version. You guys know the command. If I just get the node, let's see what's the node. So yeah, for the cost, I'm actually using my own account. But if you don't want to get paid, you can sign up a trial account. You got $300 US to try. So I was initially using the trial account every 3 months, but I feel like it's too annoying. So every 3 months, I need to create a new account. I started to use my own credit card, but then I realized it doesn't cost you too much. Yeah, only $1, $2 maximum for my demo. So I started to pay Google. Okay, so you can see here 1.28. So we just created almost 5 minutes ago. Yeah, for the cost optimization, I only use one node. So now how to enable the a Falco. Oops, sorry. Let me make the zoom. Now it should be all right. Yeah, that's fine now. Good. So before I run the command, I just to give you some idea how the deployment works. So you can set up the Falco as a deployment on Kubernetes, or you can install on the Linux system, or could be also you can deploy Falco as a Docker container. So in my demo, I will show you how to set up a Falco on a GKE in particular. So how to do it? So all these commands I listed here, I already automated. But to give you some more idea how step by step how it works. So first of all, you add the Falco chart, Helm chart to the repository, and then you run Helm repo update, and followed by you just run the Helm install command. You can install a Falco to your GKE cluster. And once you install it, we can do some testing to see if Falco capture any activity. So now let's run the command. As I say, I really hate to run the command one by one. I just make it automated. So just run Falco deploy. So if you're interested to see what Falco deploy, you can check the GitHub page. So the Falco deploy, yeah, basically I just copy these command here. Okay. And while it's running, you can monitor to say what has been deployed here. So what's going to happen here is it's going to create a namespace, and everything about the Falco will be running in that namespace. So you can see the pod is pending initially, and then becomes running. There is some error, something like a crash loop backup. It will be come back on running shortly. Any question about how to? So far, what I demoed so far is how to spin up a GKE cluster 1.28, the latest one. So only take about 6 minutes. And how to enable Falco to secure your containers only take about 1 minute or 2 minutes. Okay. Any question? Serious? Ask me any question. What are the errors? Yeah, there is some order. So for example, the Falco sidekick. So that's something, yeah, I will cover shortly. So by default, if you're not enable the Falco sidekick, it's a command line. So when we capture some activity, you need to run the command to see what's happening. But if you want to enable the UI, you can install the UI. But when we enable the UI, actually, there is some dependency. You need to run something, bring some other pods first before you can run this. But I'm enabling it immediately at the same time, but the other pods wasn't up running yet. So initially, you will see the error. But shortly, you will see everything is running. Okay. So now 1/2, that means both of the pods are running, but one actually pending on the readiness check. Shortly should be fine. Sorry?
Just to monitor all the nodes, right? So
Yeah, that
nodes.
yeah, that is a very good question. So you can choose to run as a demo sets. So if I have 10 nodes, it will automatically make sure every node have the pods running. Yep.
So in this case, you are running as
It's a running demo set. Yeah. So now let's check some tests. So for example, here I list the two triggers. So basically the first one is I just run a command to execute it to the port to see if Falco capture such activity. And the second one is I create a separate namespace and then I deploy an Nginx application. And I did the same thing, but this time I just captured to check the file of the etc shadow file. That is also sensitive data. Okay, so let's say if we can capture these activities. Yeah, I'm going to copy the command here. Yeah, by the way, part of my automation, I also deployed the PostgreSQL database. So that's why, so for example, here, if I'm going to run this command, basically I will execute it to the PostgreSQL ports and just run a bash shell. So let's see. Yeah, it's all good. Actually, I should run the monitoring first. Okay, let's see if we capture the logs. So how to see if there is any activities captured by a Falco, you just run this command. So you can see the first activity actually was captured already. So notice a share was spawned in the container and the container name, who is the user, and which command you're running, etc. Okay. And now, if I keep running this command, so let's run another command. So I just copy the second one. Let's check the second event. I need to exit from here. So basically the command is we're going to create a separate namespace and then create a deployment and then execute it to that port, do the cat of the etc shadow file. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, but you need to wait the port is running. So once the port is running, you can see we capture the second activity. Yeah, did you guys see the second one? So basically the sensitive data, someone is doing something will be captured here. No, actually, this is just the log file. The activity wasn't showing here yet. The sensitive data one, because it needs to wait the, actually, what's going on? Upgrade container not found. Yeah, I forgot to copy where. Let me see, my namespace. Yeah, it's running now. Let's see. Yeah, let me just run the last command. Yeah, you see the command returns your etc schedule file, the contents. And now if I come back here, you can see warning, sensitive file opened by someone, and all these details will be captured here. Yeah, so the security camera is monitoring now.
How does it know that whether to say a warning for some request or not?
So basically, there are some default rules to identify if it's a warning or it's an error or it's just information.
Okay, because a user can also make a request. So how does it differentiate? Authorized user can also make a request and fetch the data.
No, once the camera is here, even yourself or past your home, you will be captured as well, right? So including anyone.
Okay, so in that case, like we already have like authorization and authentication mechanism. So,
Mhm.
so just trying to understand, because only when a person has an authorization to an application, then only you will be able to access the information. So, this Falcon, like how
Yeah.
does it?
I got a point. Yeah, basically you can create some exception if you don't want to be, captured to minimize the noises. Yeah. So by default, if you enable it, you probably get lots of the different noises. Some are valid activity. Could be the sysadmin is checking the details, right? So that can be done. Yeah, can be customized.
And one more question, like consider an application is there is a SQL injection possible. So an authorized user is doing an SQL injection. Then in that case, can this product can make a like call up saying that there is SQL injection activity going on. So this is not an authorized one. So is that also like possible?
I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite understand, what exactly you're looking. Yeah, can you say it again, please?
So what I mean is that like during a query from the user, so he can also like do an SQL injection and fetch the other details which is not authorized to.
Yep.
So that also comes under security violation. Like the application is not secure, which means like data apart from unauthorized, he can also access unauthorized data from the database. So that is actually a security violation. And with Spring Boot, we will be able to take care of that. But when we are going for JDBC and all, that doesn't see the SQL injection. So directly runs the query and fetches the data. So that is a security violation. So will this be able to, will this also monitor those kind of security violations as well?
So based on my understanding, if you are after the SQL injections, that's probably, it's not a part of the, it's not, Andy, you can help him confirm. It's not a part of the Falco. The Falco was deployed, was designed just for your container for the Kubernetes related. Yeah, SQL injection is part of the cloud security typically.
So it's more in
Operates at different layers. So you're operating the protocols which Falco let's see, operate with a VPC channel or a level channel, ODBC or whatever it's operating for. So Falco, because Falco is operating at the system call level, it's inspecting system calls as they happen. Okay, so those system calls could be reads and files, they could be writes files, executions, they could be data being passed through pipes, they could be external network connections, those kind of threads, right? Things that surface inside the system call level. So it wouldn't be able to understand an upper level protocol, which is encapsulating activities in an alternate type. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Thanks, Andy.
Any other commands that, what do you say, it's like destructive commands, if somebody trying to run a custom, can we customize to include those commands?
Yeah, so the community, the Falco community, maintains a set of rules, which covers a bunch of cloud native threats. And we released new rules roughly, the last release we released 4 or 5, which was about a month ago. But we, so automated rule updates are now built into Falco. Okay, so Falco now has a ability to do automated rule updates. So that means that we can run through the automated process. But users of Falco can also write their own rules. And if you want to learn Falco rules, there's a book up there, which is a prize, which you can learn to write Falco rules. Okay. And so so the way that users use Falco is they check the rules into their GitHub, into their repository, and then they use they use the repository to check their rules in and out, build their rules, and Falco now has the ability to pull down those rules automatically and update them. So typically what organizations do, or customers, or whoever uses Falco, is they use the community rule base, which gets updated by the team as new things come out. And there's a couple of thousand people now contributing to the community, and then they write their own specific rules and their own specific exclusions to filter out the specifics of their environment.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Andy. Andy here is from Falco, so he knows much more about Falco. So later, if you guys have any queries, reach out to Andy. Yongkang.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, to clarify, actually, Falco was from Sysdig. Sysdig make it make it open source. So Falco is behind, is behind the Sysdig. So so far we just tested 2 of the activity. We captured these activity, but do you really allow to just do the command line to monitor? Maybe not. So that's where there is a Falco sidekick web UI. How to enable it? I got the command here. I make it easier. These are actually, if you look at the documentation, seriously, it took me quite a little bit of time to understand what's happening from here, from there, jump here, jump there, to figure out how it works. So I just copy this command. I patch the cluster IP as a load balancer. Then I can log in. So I'm going to copy here. I run this command here. It will make it change to the external, will give you the external service IP. And then I just run another command to give me the web UI, the URL link, once the IP is ready. And then with this, yeah, the IP wasn't ready yet. So I believe that guy asked the first question. So you got this book. No, is that, you wear glasses? You asked the question earlier, right? No, that's you, a yellow one, yeah. Oh, thank you so much, yeah. Yeah, let's see if we get the IP. Yeah, typically it take about 1 minute or so. Let's say if the service IP is here. Yeah, we just got the IP address. So how to access the web UI, the sidekick web UI? If you click the link, it will give you the web browser, open the new tab. So by default, the username is admin, the password is admin, and then you can log in, use the web UI. Basically, all of the stuff you see, all of these activities will be captured here. So for example, if you look at it will break down as a different category, and then you can filter by the different category as well. And if you want to do the API integration, also can be easily done. So if you look at the events, the 3 events also captured here. So the last one is sensitive, somebody is open the sensitive file. Okay, the first one is someone is spawn a new shell. Do you guys like the UI or the command line? It depends, right? But yeah, typically people prefer both. If you want to automate, yeah, you probably love the command line. If you want to have the UI, the dashboard, might be easier to use the the web UI, and you can filter based on the events. It will be a lot easier. That's about the sidekick. Any question about the sidekick? Yeah, again, all of these, I will make it available. I will share the slide deck here as well. So that's just, I took a screenshot of how it works in the events captured. So extension, I found the events, the Falco detected the problems, how I can get notified. So can you guys see the screen? There are lots of the integration available out of the box. So you can integrate with your, let's say, your Loki, Elasticsearch, PagerDuty, Datadog, Teams, Slack, all of these can be easily integrated. So for example, we detect the 3 events. You can configure the events immediately send to the Slack message or Teams message, etc. Okay. Yeah, it's almost done. Yeah, I got to, reminded only 5 minutes to go. Okay. So where to learn? How to learn? I actually did the learning from the learn.sysdig.com. So there is a module called Falco 101 and also Falco plugin. So that's a pretty good learning, multiple hours learning. Yeah, I did all of these learning. And then I created the automation. I tried from the Kubernetes how to secure the containers. So that's about how to secure the GKE containers. So since the Falco is an open source, not just for GKE, it can be applied to any Kubernetes, or could be OpenShift. A bonus topic. Anyone want to learn? So how to automate the GKE backup? So time-wise, I'm not going to talk too much details here, but in my opinion, if the cloud provider have the native tools, why not go for the native tools? So Google is the first cloud provider to provide the native backup tool for the GKE containers. But obviously there is some limitation, for example, but majority of the task can be done. So the name is called Backup for GKE. I recorded a video, B for G, Backup for Google, Backup for GKE. And the second one, if you want to go open source, you got the Valero. That's the #1 open source backup tool available for any Kubernetes. And you can also go, the third one is the Kubernetes backup as a service. If you don't want to self-manage the backup, you can go the backup as a service tool. CloudCasa is one of the best one. I also recorded a few videos about that. So the last one is the self-managed backup. You don't like the managed backup as a service. You still need to manage by yourself. Casting is one of the nice tool, give you the very easy to use UI. I also have multiple videos I don't get paid, by the way. It's just my interest. I love to learn all different stuff and create the video to share with the community. I think that's pretty much all I want to talk about for today. Yeah, feel free to follow me, drop me emails, yeah, send me message, etc. And unless you guys have other questions.
Anybody has any questions to Yongkang? We can take 1 or 2 questions. All right.
Yeah.
How easy it is to set up on-premise cluster?
Yeah. How easy to set up an on-premise cluster?
working fully and supporting Terraform. So you just
Yeah.
No.
No audio. He muted.
Really, what I want to do is that for Google Cloud infrastructure as code, so there is no, and so what you see is, so what you see, for example, if you go to the Google Cloud documentation,
But
what
no-
you will
no
actually
audio.
see is, for a lot of times,
No audio.
what you will see is
What
that
happened?
it gives you the instructions on how to do it in the console.
Oh. I'll mute mine. Then otherwise,
You cannot hear him.
Then they also.
Then I'll put my laptop and unmute it.
Yeah, please.
So how do you use it on Google Cloud? And then they also sort of extend, so there are tools where they're extending it, one for example, is what they call policy validation.
Policies, and then make sure that your enterprise actually follows that. Of course, there are other third parties that do that as well, and then what they also sort of have is actually integrated Terraform code generation, and they're sort of just rolling that out. No, that's not the one. So if I go, for example, in here, compute engine. So compute engine is the EC2 equivalent. When I go in here, if I want to create an instance, what they actually do is they give the equivalent code, coming up here so there's this option here, equivalent code, so you can see the command line, the REST API, but also the Terraform. So again, this is something relatively new, and I think right now it's only available for compute engine, but I think they're starting to roll that out. So what I really want you sort of to take away from this is that for Google Cloud, Terraform is not sort of something to add on. It's really completely integrated, and they're fully behind it. Now, the way then in Terraform, there's this authentication, and the easiest way really to use Terraform in Google Cloud is what we call the Cloud Shell. So the Cloud Shell is, for those of you familiar with it, and AWS now also has sort of the Cloud Shell, though this Cloud Shell, quite honest, is a lot better than AWS Cloud Shell because it's right there. All the tools are actually already installed. You don't have to pay for it. Just takes a minute for it to come up, and it's also persistent. And then it has Terraform installed, and not only that, then it's fully integrated in that it's already authenticated. So the easiest way really to run Terraform is just in the Cloud Shell. Let me sort of put it here. So that's sort of the easiest way to do it. Okay. Now, the other thing is I want to point out is that there used to be this key file. So the way, if you want to run Terraform on your local machine, you have to create a service account, and then with the service account, you can create a key file, which you then do. Unfortunately, that is still in a lot of documentation, you see that, and key files, we really want to avoid this. Key files is not a good way. And as I said, unfortunately, still here, where is it here? Where is the key file there? I thought I had it here. I can't quite, but unfortunately, in a lot of documentation, it's still being used. And I don't recommend that, rather what I actually recommend is what's called service account impersonation. And I have a little article on my Medium account where you can read it, So what service account impersonation is where you actually authenticate with Google. It gives you sort of a temporary key, and that's then how you authenticate. So for those of you, if you want to use Terraform on your local machine, I recommend this rather than key file. There are also, for example, with GitHub Actions, you can do that now. It's called federation. So there's still some instances where you need to use a key file, but I would highly discourage from using that. So here's sort of some of the commands. You set it up once, and then you can also switch between accounts. Okay, so that's how you use Terraform in Google Cloud, So now let's talk about GKE, So GKE and, sorry, I missed that question. What's it? How long does it take for you to create a cluster in 6 minutes? Okay, now in Terraform, it actually sort of takes you a little bit longer, not 30 minutes, And the reason, even if you sort of do the bare necessity, and this is literally the only code that you need to create it, is that when you do it in Terraform, the recommended practice is actually that you create the cluster and you bring up the cluster with this, they say, this initial node count of 1. But then once the cluster is created, the node pool is created, is actually supposed to be deleted so that you have a separate node pool. So in Terraform, you really want to have the cluster and the node pool separate. And so that's the reason why it actually takes a little bit longer, because if you bring it up, it takes some minutes for the initial cluster to be created with the initial node pool. Then the default node pool, then you create a custom node pool, and then it actually this line, remove default node pool, it will then remove the default node pool, But so that's sort of what I call the bare necessities. This is really how you create it. Now, one thing here, this is sort of this highlight here, is the location. So in Google, so GKE has a concept of a regional cluster and a zonal cluster. So zonal cluster is where you create the cluster in a single zone. A regional cluster is where you create a cluster across the region, so in 3 zones. And then, basically by default, you will have 3 nodes in each zone. So if you create a regional cluster, you basically will have 9 virtual machines versus a zonal cluster, which of course does not provide high availability. It's created only in 1 zone. And so here, if you want to have it a zonal cluster, you actually don't specify, I have a zonal or a regional cluster. If you want to have a zonal cluster, you just specify location as, this is a zone. If you leave the -a off, that then is a region. It will create a regional cluster. So that's sort of the bare necessity, But what we really want to use is, what I would recommend is the modules. So modules, are maintained actually in this module is one of the most popular modules on the Terraform registry, and it's maintained actually by Google, Now, when we go in here, actually, let me sort of go here, actually. So a couple of things, So when you create Terraform, in Google Cloud is what we have the backend state. In Google Cloud, it's actually really easy. We just use cloud storage, So we don't have to use DynamoDB or what have you. We just use cloud storage. It does provide locking, So we really wanted to find a backend state, Second is, in Google Cloud, when you create a project, you actually get a default network, the security recommendation is actually not to use that default network. They created for ease, of purpose, for beginners, but I actually personally, I don't like it. So whenever I create a project, the first thing I do is actually delete the default network, and then sort of create a custom network, a custom VPC, with that. So that's number one. Then number two is really to create a service account. One of the things, and again, it's sort of, there are some sort of, how shall I say, quirks of Google Cloud, is that they make it very easy to get going, but some of the easy things really violate security principles, And so the service account there doesn't follow the least privileged security principle. So, and if you don't do anything, it uses it by default, So the recommendation then is to create a service account with IAM permission that follow, your least privileged security principle, And then you sort of do the parameterization of the of your module. So let me sort of show it to here. So here's sort of all the code here to create the what I just talked about. So here we create the VPC, so all the things are in here with the VPC. We have we have the backend here. And then here is the module that you can use. Now, I don't have it on a public repo, but maybe if somebody's interested, I can do that. So that's sort of one thing, And so one of the beauties, of course, of using Terraform is that you can create, you can parameterize it, and that you can create different types of clusters, for example, a dev cluster and a production cluster. And the way you do it is by just parameterization. So here, for example, I have my TV bars, so I give it my name, So for example, for this one, I use an E2 standard 2 with a very small disk, And here I have my service account. So I can run that, and that now creates a development cluster. And then I can run the same command, the same configuration, just with a different with a different configuration file, So for example, this one then uses E2 medium, for example, slightly larger disk size, And then also, for example, I can specify, what's my minimum node count, maximum node count, all these things, I can just variabilize it. But the code for this, to create the GKE cluster is identical, And so this is, of course, exactly what we want to have. Is there a question? Yeah.
Yeah. State.
Sorry.
Terraform state.
Yeah.
So you mentioned just a bit earlier that Terraform state's automatically stored inside the cloud storage.
Yeah.
Is that the default for the GKE modules, or did you have to do some additional configuration to make that work? Right. Yeah.
Yes.
So there is some additional configuration.
Yeah, yes. So it's not the default. By default, it stores it locally, So to use a backend, you specify in it this way. And this is actually one of the key is this bucket actually has to exist.
Yeah.
So you can't sort of bootstrap it, So you have to create the bucket and then specify that. Yeah. So what I do is I actually have a little module. When I create a new project, I create all these things. I create a bucket. I create a service account, So yeah. No, it does locking. It does locking. Yeah, it does locking. So what it will do is, so it puts the state file there, and while it's running, it puts a lock file there. So if somebody else wants to run it at the same time, backend, it will say, okay, it's locked, I cannot run it. Yeah, this one does it all. Yeah. Good. So that's sort of on the module ones, you know. Now it comes something interesting, and this is sort of more intricate for Terraform. So Terraform by HashiCorp actually says, you know, so workspaces are not appropriate for system decomposition or deployments regarding separate credentials and access controls, you know. Now, in Google Cloud, you can actually do that, you know, because in Google Cloud, you have this thing projects, you know. And so what you can do and projects provide that isolation, you know. And so what I actually say, what you can do is you can create using workspaces, you know, in Terraform to actually manage different environments, you know. And the way you can do that, and the reason why you can do that is that in Google Cloud, actually projects provide that isolation, you know. And so what you can do is you create, so I create a DevOps project. In my DevOps project, I create a service account, you know. So this is the service account. And then I have two sort of different, you know, projects, my dev and my production project. And in those projects, I provide permission to that service account to create resources, you know. And that really is I actually quite like that, you know. Also, sort of the backend there is then actually in this DevOps service account. And so let me demonstrate that to you. And I will demonstrate it with, hopefully, let me this. I will demonstrate it with, okay. Oh, yeah, I will demonstrate it with Compute Engine just because it will take too long to do for GKE. But in my book, I do have that, you know. So let me sort of demonstrate that here. So what we have, HashiCorp talks. Workspaces. So let me just say, let me just see. So Terraform workspaces list. Oh, actually, I think it's workspaces, sorry. Come in here. Oh, I don't think I have it initialized it yet, sorry. Okay. Oh, sorry. Oh, crap. Damn it. Sorry, I didn't update my repo. Let me see, get pulled. I wasn't working on that machine. Oh, crap, man. How do I override again? Get checkout, right? Yeah. No, I didn't pull my repo. I was working on a different machine. So sorry about it. But let me sort of show you the code. Damn it. Sorry about that. But sort of let me show you the code, you know. So what I do here is, so this is supposed to be, you know, it's a different DevOps here. But let me again sort of show it to you in the project. So here what I have is I have my DevOps project. And in my DevOps project, I have that service account. So if I go into IAM, I have that service account, you know. So here I have this Terraform DevOps service account. And then what I do is for example, in my dev project, what I need to do is I need to give the service account of the DevOps project permission to you know, to create things. So here I have, let me just blow this up a little bit. So here is the Terraform service account from the DevOps project. And that one has compute admin permission. And then I run, and this is an interesting thing. And then I run my Terraform in my DevOps project, but it's able to create resources in the development project, and vice versa, and similar in my production one, So I really like that. And then if we sort of go here in my DevOps, and the backend is in the DevOps. So if I here go into cloud storage, so you see, this is the state here. And so here in the workspaces under the directory, what you see here is the dev TV state. So this is the state information of the dev project, and this is the production project. So I actually find that, it's like, while in general, Terraform, HashiCorp is correct. Terraform says, the workspaces in Terraform do not provide that isolation, but in Google Cloud with projects, you can do that, So this is how you would do it, So you do Terraform workspace, select the dev. That now brings me gets me into the workspace. Then I do apply of that var file. And here, the difference of the var files here. So here, for example, I have my dev var files, and here I specify the project. So this is now my development project, versus the prod here is the production project, And so I can then just sort of run this, and then I switch the workspace to the production workspace and apply and using, the production TV bars, So I find that quite a good way of managing it, Now, of course, if you use Terraform Cloud or Terraform Enterprise, everything is taken care of with anything. And that's all I had, quick and easy, So I hope that, this gentleman, I think you should have learned a lot. For the other ones, you can see how things are being done differently in Google Cloud. So any questions? And while we're the Terraform, it's all the open source. So the open source, okay. So for those of you know, that's sort of a hot topic right now in terms of what license it is, but yeah, so Terraform, they call it the old name, I think it's still the old name, is open source, which is basically the command line. And then they have Terraform Cloud and Terraform Enterprise, which is sort of that, they have a graphical user interface, and it enables to work with in projects and so on, or in collaboration. Quite honest, is anybody here from HashiCorp?
No, but since I'm an HashiCorp user group member, I can tell you, yes, HashiCorp has switched to business user support licenses. However, that is only for those who use HashiCorp products and they are the competitor of HashiCorp. Only they need to worry about, but if you're using it in your regular day-to-day life, like the open source, you still don't have to worry about it. Those licenses do not apply to you.
No, but actually, the thing I was going to ask is, this Terraform, Terraform Cloud and Terraform Enterprise, quite honest, I could never really see the value proposition. I know what it does, and it's like, I can do pretty much anything with a CI/CD pipeline and a shared workspace. So I've always struggled, and when I was at Essentia, we talked with HashiCorp, and I looked through their presentation, and it wasn't very convincing, to be honest, and I think this might be one of the reasons why, but I didn't want to go into that hornet's. Yeah, that's sort of the hornet's nest.
Terraform Cloud, it has 5 free users.
Yeah.
And if your team is more than 5, then yeah, definitely you have to buy the licenses.
So, but yeah, to answer your question, all what I join and all my book is only the open source.
Still use it.
Yeah,
You don't
CLI.
have to worry about it.
Yeah.
It's like developers are not affected by it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bernd. Thank you very much for sharing on Terraform and GKE. And I will hand over to my colleague Fazil. And we will need another 10 minutes, then we'll take a group photo and we will call it a day. Okay, just stay with us for another 5-10 minutes. Fazil, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Ritesh. So we don't have much to share actually. So we have some announcement about upcoming events. Kubernetes user group, we have, you already know, we expanded to Canada and Australia as well. So we have upcoming events on 19th in Canada. So if you have any friends, colleagues who is working in Canada, who is residing in Canada, so they can join. So you can invite them, and as well as Australia, Melbourne. And AWS event is coming up on 26th, and Meetup is happening 20th. So our next Kubernetes meetup is planned on 16th at Rakuten. And there's another event, AWS Security meetup is on 30th October. So one of the main events going to happen, Kube Day. So you guys can use our K8SUG user code to save 20% discount. So this is a good chance. So we are also part of Kube Day event, Singapore. So KubeCon happening on North America. So there also be there's one user code, discount code. You can use it and you can get 15% out of the tickets. So we'll be sharing these details in our Meetup group as well. So if you're not able to capture, so we anyway we'll be sharing these details in our Meetup group. So our co-organizers, Yongkang, myself, Ritesh, Sachin. So if you guys are willing to volunteer, so please reach out to us. So we are glad to join you with us. And as well as if you guys like to sponsor, also you can speak to us for sponsorship for the upcoming events, because we need some sponsors to have venue and food and beverages, right? So currently, Google is sponsoring us as long-term sponsors. So thank you so much for attending 21st events. So we have more to go. So we have upcoming events planned on November and December. So December Kube Day is one of the main events. So please feel free to join. So we'll try to get some more discount code for Kube Day also. So thank you so much, everyone. So before wind up, so we welcome everyone to this front and to take a group photo.
Hello. Everybody please come towards the stage. We will take a group photo and then we will call it a day off. Yamba, Bernd, Andy, everyone. Yes, guys, stand near the banner and between these two screens. Yeah, start. Guys, don't wait for invitation, just move. Just, yeah, stand between the two screens and squeeze yourself.
Longer than what's in the point. People get
Yeah, squeeze a bit and some can sit in front. Who cannot, you can come and sit in front.